All right, today we are going to hack the single most powerful tool you have, your mind. We're going to break down 7 super simple daily practices that can totally shift your mindset from feeling stuck to, constantly growing.
I mean, have you ever felt like you're just stuck? Like you're spinning your wheels, hitting the same exact wall over and over again. It could be at work, trying to learn something new, or even just in your personal life. It's a frustrating feeling, right?
Well, that feeling of being stuck, a lot of the time it really just comes down to one of 2 internal scripts that are running in your head. On one side, you've got this fixed mindset voice. It's the one that says, I can't do it. This is just too hard. It's basically a full stop. But then you have the growth mindset, and it asks a totally different question. Okay, how can I do it? Let me try another way. You see the difference? One's a wall, the other is a doorway.
So let's get clear on this. What is a growth mindset exactly? It's pretty simple, really. It's the core belief that your abilities and your intelligence, they aren't set in stone. They're not fixed. They can be developed with dedication and some good old-fashioned hard work. It's not about being born a genius. It's all about becoming more capable through the things you actually do.
And you know what the best part is? This isn't something you either have or you don't. It's a skill. It's like a muscle you can build. So let's dive in. We're going to walk through 7 really practical things you can start doing like today to strengthen that growth mindset.
Okay, practice number 1 is all about reframing your language. And this is so important because it taps into the incredible power of the words you're using, especially the words you say to yourself. Just think about this for a second. A single word can change literally everything. When you say, I can't, that's a conclusion. It's a period at the end of a sentence. The door is shut. But when you ask, how can I? Oh, that's completely different. That's like an engine turning over. It immediately flips a switch in your brain, taking it out of defeat mode and putting it straight into problem-solving mode.
All right, practice number 2. This one builds right on top of the first one. It's all about changing your relationship with, well, one of the scariest words in the dictionary, failure.
You see, a growth mindset doesn't look at failure as some final judgment on who you are. Instead, it just sees it as data, information. A setback isn't a big stamp that says, you're not good enough. No way. It's just feedback. It's your experience telling you, hey, that approach didn't quite work out, so what did we learn? What can we try next?
Okay, on to practice number 3. This is a big one. It's about escaping a really common and honestly destructive trap that we all fall into, the comparison game. The whole goal here is to focus on your own personal growth. Seriously, constantly comparing yourself to other people, it's a game you just can't win. There's always someone ahead of you. You're always looking sideways. But what happens when you shift that focus inward? When you start measuring yourself against, well, yourself from yesterday, or last week, or last year? Now that is real, tangible motivation you can actually use. Practice number 4 is absolutely key if you want long-term consistency. It's simple. Learn to embrace the process.
It's so easy to get obsessed with the final outcome, right? The promotion, the finished project, that A on the test. But we forget something so vital in all that. The actual growth, the real learning, the part where you're building new skills, all of that good stuff happens during the work, not just when you cross the finish line. When you learn to actually value the effort itself, the whole journey becomes way more rewarding.
All right, practice number 5. This one is a subtle distinction, but man, is it powerful. It's about owning your actions, not your flaws.
So here's what that means. A fixed mindset takes a failure and makes it part of your identity. It says, I messed up because I'm just bad at this. See? It's about who you are. But a growth mindset, it separates what you did from who you are. It says, okay, I took an action that led to a mistake. What can I do differently next time? It's all about constructive accountability, not branding yourself as permanently flawed.
Okay, practice number 6. This one takes us out of our own heads and into the world around us. It's time to curate your influences. Here's the thing. Mindsets are contagious. They really are. If you surround yourself with people who are constantly complaining, who see limits everywhere they look, and who are always blaming someone else, it is so hard to stay in a growth mode. But what if you flip that? When your circle is full of people who actually embrace challenges, who support each other, that positive energy becomes your new normal.
And that brings us to our 7th and final practice. And this is the one that really fuels the whole engine of growth. It's all about celebrating the small steps.
Look, let's be real. Big goals can be super intimidating, and the journey can feel long. That's why acknowledging the small wins is so important. Finishing one tough chapter, making that one difficult phone call you've been putting off, running for just 5 extra minutes. All of those things build momentum. Think of it like this. Every small celebration is a deposit into your confidence bank. And the more you have in there, the easier the next step feels.
So, if we boil all this down, what are the key things to remember? First, and most importantly, your mindset is a choice. It's not some permanent trait you're stuck with. Second, it's the small, daily things you do that create huge change over time. And finally, try to keep your focus on the process, on the learning, and on your own personal progress. That's the real game.
But please, remember this. This is not about flipping a switch and poof, you're changed forever. Building a growth mindset is a lot like going to the gym, but for your brain. It's an ongoing, daily commitment. It's a practice.
So after all that, it really just leaves one last question. For you, out of everything we talked about, what's one thing you're going to practice today?